Hey, hey, y'all. You are listening to Definitely Not For Everyone with your girl, Nicolette. My co-host, Diana, is here with me today. Say what's up, y'all.
Hey.
What's up, y'all?
So we are here. That beautiful voice you hear is Sade Rena?
Renee.
Renee. That's even better,
That's
girl.
beautiful.
You could have been like a singer, performer, like all the things. What she is, though, is a really funny TikToker. You are an author of some steamy, hot literature. And in my opinion, you're like just an all-around badass bitch. Because Diana was telling me some other things too that you got going on, and I was like, shit.
What I got going on?
Yeah.
What she got going on?
I read about you. Well, I thought it was wonderful because you also, one, from your TikToks and your Facebook, you are a great supporter of not only women empowerment, which I understand you are the CEO of, I don't want to say it wrong, is it Minx Lit?
Yes.
Yes, and you also, or you have also another organization all about the indies, which I was love to hear more of that.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
and I love the way you're so supportive of other authors, and I love it's kind of like what we do. And she sits there with another author, and they talk about their books and writing, and I think that is so cool how you
That's
dig
so
up
cool.
other authors and how you support women in general. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad you're here to talk about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, like we were saying, we can only kind of speak for ourselves, but TikTok was like a godsend for us when the pandemic hit, and for a lot of people, I'm sure. And it was really nice seeing people sharing and expressing themselves. And people are so fucking talented. And I would never have found you if it was not for TikTok. I would never be trying to read your books. Hate to Want You. And Midnight Whisper, girl, I was like, yes. Anyway, so I just have you here really in all honesty to just say thank you. Thank you for being on TikTok. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing the things that you do.
Yes.
I mean, if it wasn't for, you almost wouldn't have found me on TikTok because I didn't start posting regularly until like December. I wouldn't get off. I was like, I'm too old for that. I'm gonna leave that to the kids. I mean, I'm only 32, but I'm like,
oh no, she didn't.
That's for the kids. I'm not dancing on here. I'm not doing this. And then I got bored one day and I said, let me make a TikTok. And I made it, cool. And it did pretty okay, right? Mm-hmm. And then I did another one and it went viral, and I was just like, okay, I'm having fun now. Okay. I'll keep making TikToks.
That is so cool.
Usually how I begin our conversations is by defining ourselves. And if you don't feel comfortable defining yourself, which some people don't, like how you're feeling. And I say only today, just because, every day is a different day. I'll start off. I am half Japanese, half Black.
Okay.
I'm a massage therapist. I'm a mama of 2 girls. They drive me, but I love them. You know what I mean? It's really difficult. I want to beat them because that's how I used to get beat with a stick, but I'm not going to do that. We won't even go there. That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. I am feeling happy. I'm feeling happy and I'm feeling excited, and I'm feeling thankful because you are here to talk to us today. Sade, you want to go? Or Diana, you want to go? Define yourself. How you feeling today? It's always the same thing for you.
It's always the first thing. I say the same thing because it's the honest truth. I'm cold and I'm tired. That's how I am right now. I am cold. If you felt my fingertips, if you saw that space heater right here, you would know I'm not lying. I am cold, and this girl is always hungry. So that's how I'm feeling today. But I'm also a mom. I'm a wife. I'm also a massage therapist. A mom of 3 boys. Well, I'm working on it. 3 men, because they're 26, 21, and 14. Okay. So yeah, these are big boys, men. And so I'm happy and I'm excited to talk to you. So let's hear about you, Mama.
Yeah.
I'm Sade. I am not a mama, unless you count all my mama's kids. Then I'm a mama of 5. And you can count my mama too, so my mama was 6. Um, I'm particularly actually have more energy than I thought I was gonna have today.
Nice, nice.
I feel really good. I am also cold and tired because it's cold here. And I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
Why you did that?
Man,
it's Saturday.
man.
Why you did that?
What?
It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't. If my body gets up, I just get up with my body.
No, you gotta argue. You gotta argue with your body waking you up at 4 o'clock.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I just get up when my body says get up.
No, y'all crazy. Me and my body, we be having arguments. All right. Anyway, so can we begin with our questions? They're not a lot of questions. They're super basic, like I told you, but they're really the things that I really want to know. Okay. So the main thing I want to know is, you had mentioned you got 6 kids basically with your mama. But can you tell us like what your childhood was like? How many, your siblings, your parents, were you raised by a single mom? Was high school horrible like it was for me? All the things. I hated high school. Anyway, go ahead.
I liked high school a little bit.
Okay.
So I was actually raised, they say it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
My mom is a single mom, but I was raised mostly by my grandmother on my dad's side. We're from DC, lived in the projects, not necessarily the best environment. So we ended up with my grandma when I was about 7. And I stayed with her on and off from age 7 until I graduated high school. There were quite a bit of other influential women in my life, which is why I'm so big on upping women. I have a godmom who stepped in quite a bit to help out. And then I have an aunt who stepped in quite a bit to help out for a couple of years until I was able to take care of myself. Aww. And me and my mom was really close, but again, I had to grow up with my grandma. She was going through a moment. But we are a big family. Obviously, she has 6 children. Would have been 13 of us, but she has 6 children. 6 children, and then we have another sister on my dad's side that I just reconnected with. So we're pretty close in terms of, with the siblings at least. We do have family members pretty much all over the place. But as far as the kids go, my sister is my sister. You can't tell my mom that's not her daughter, even though it's not her daughter. And her mom is the same way. I'm her daughter. You can't, like, we're just really close.
That's so cool.
But we grew up in the hood, so we got funny hood stories. And then I lived with my grandma. When I lived with my grandma, we grew up in the suburbs. Funny story with that. When we first moved to my grandma's house, I was 7. I had never in my life seen a house ever. And me and my brother, he was like 3 at the time, and we was like, we're rich. He was like, what? I said, we're rich, Grandma. She was like, we are not.
You're not the only one. I have heard that so many times. I'm from the projects in the Bronx, so I understand so much in New York.
Yeah. She was like, no, we're not rich. And if it wasn't for my daddy dying, we wouldn't have his house. But that's kind of how I grew up. I'm the oldest of all of us, so I've essentially had to be mama quite a bit.
So I have a quick question with that. So did your mom also move in to your grandmama's house when you were 7?
No, just me and my brother at first.
Okay.
By the time my mom had not my last sibling at the time, but her 5th kid, then she moved in.
Okay. So like, I know you say that you're close to your mom now. How did that develop, the closeness? Was it always a thing, or because like you're away from your mom, right? Like it must have been weird.
Been close, and we've always had that mama-daughter relationship to the point where, I mean, I'm away from her. I grew up with her until I'm 7, so it's hard for a 7-year-old to forget that bond that they have with their mom. So we talked every day, and then every summer we came back to spend time with her until she was able to get us back again.
Right.
And then we stayed with her for a little while, and then we all kind of just split up. And then it ended up being me and my mom and my youngest sister at the time going back to North Carolina with my grandma. And because I was with my mom the most, that's why we're so close. And then as I got older and started working and getting degrees and all that stuff, I've kind of been the person that kind of bring everybody back together. So we talk pretty much every day. Not right now, she gonna punish me, but we talk pretty much every day.
Punishment. I like it.
I know.
So then high school happened, college happened. And did you always want to be a writer?
Yes.
Theater girl. Well, you look like a theater girl. Were you a theater girl?
A little bit. Not really.
I don't see a theater girl in her
I
right
see a
now.
theater girl.
I don't like people like that, so not that much. But I did. I used to want to do everything, anything that deals with the arts, and not like.
Yes.
I used to think I could sing.
Yeah. All right.
I used to want to be an actress. Like for a long time, I could recite all the words to Love and Basketball. I don't remember half of them now.
Oh my God, that's my movie there.
What was it? On Demand? Was it On Demand back then? Whatever it was, pay-per-view. I
Pay-per-view.
Bill so sky high. I got in trouble by my stepdaddy, and it was just Love and Basketball over and over and over. He was like, "You could watch something else." Like,
at least have some variety.
Write some brown sugar, something.
$100 bill for just Love and Basketball over and over.
I love that movie.
I loved it too. And then Save the Last Dance, my favorite movie of all time. I could recite that entire movie from beginning to end. When I was 12, we moved back in with my mom in DC, and I went to middle school, Charles Hart Middle School, in the hood. And there was this lady named Nancy Schwab. She came from Northwest DC, and she created a writing program for the kids in Southeast to keep us out of the streets, because at that time people were getting killed over sneakers. It was really bad. That's when the Nike boots and the North Face finally hit. And so she came to the neighborhood because she kind of wanted to give the younger kids something to do other than hanging out on the streets, hanging around with drug dealers. I only joined her class because she had snacks.
My girl.
And it's an after school program, and my friends was going on trips in the middle of the day, and they was eating ho-hos and cosmic brownies, and I'm like, I want a snack, give me one. She's like, she's like, you gotta come to class. So I went into class, and she was like, you need to write. I'm not writing anything. I'm trying to be a badass. I wasn't bad at all.
Yes.
Like, I'm not writing anything, but I wanted that snack though, so I wrote. And she liked my poem. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but it was essentially about living in the hood and, wondering at 12 years old where your life is going to end up, because everybody around you is not necessarily the best influence. And I just started going back more. It became like therapy, and I just kept going back and going back. I mean, I've been writing since I was old enough to hold a pen, but I really got into writing when I was 12.
Wow.
Now share with everyone what you write today, and how did you get into that particular genre? I
write anything romance, I just love. So anything romance really, but primarily interracial romance, because I believe love is love. I date interracially. My best friend is a white girl. I just believe love is love, and there's no color when it comes to nurturing that, if that makes sense.
Yes. So you just gotta find a woke white man.
Yes. You don't want. I was dating somebody this summer who I thought was woke, and then the George Floyd stuff popped off, and I'm like, you got prejudice. You ain't unpacked yet, sir.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
It's not gonna work.
No.
All right. All right.
When you hear them say, "Oh, well, they should have just listened to the police," and then this one, what? Oh no.
Sorry. No, he didn't say that. He said, I wish more Black people were good like you.
He said she was one of the good ones.
And I'm like,
no, he didn't.
Not really sure what you mean by that.
Excuse me, sir.
He's like, because you're a go-getter. You don't wait for handouts. You don't do this. You don't do that. What we're not about to do.
Wow.
Is any of that. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that every race have their whatever you want to call it, but I'm not the one.
We ain't gonna do that.
We're not about to bash my people, sir.
So wait, okay, I'm sorry we're going into this, but how long had you been dating him?
We met literally at the start of COVID online. So we
Okay.
hadn't really like gone out. It was all just video.
Okay.
Phone calls. So we didn't really like.
Okay, you didn't give him the punani nani.
No.
Okay.
So
Okay, good.
You definitely won't about to get it talking like that. Like,
okay, thank you.
No.
Just checking.
But yes, I write primarily interracial romance, mostly Black women, white men, and that's typically because a lot of the projects that I have been invited to participate in, the theme is Black women, white men.
Interesting.
Projects that you was invited into, because I noticed your name was amongst a group in some of the books that were offered. Is that like a package, and it's different short stories from all those writers?
Yes. So the two that she mentioned these are going to be longer books, but they're what we call anthologies, and so we all write a story themed to something, and then we publish it as one big old collection. The two that you mentioned, we're up to be USA Today bestsellers. We got to sell enough books in order to do that. But
is that why it's 99?
Yeah,
99.
We want to get as many people to buy as possible. It's possible to do it at full price, but it's a lot easier for people to trust reading brand new authors when it's only 99 cents.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, that is so. Where did the which I loved on your website describes you or your books as sweet, dirty, irresistible romance, and my favorite part is, hold on, I don't want to get it wrong, darkest side of romance. And I was like, darkest side of romance, sign me up. So explain that to us, please. Where is that play in to your writing and your style?
Okay, so the sweet, dirty, and irresistible is my more contemporary romance. And for me, contemporary doesn't, so when you look at romance in this industry, they break it up very hard. So you'll say contemporary. Most people, when they think contemporary, when romance, they think white romance, when really contemporary is just anything set in this time. So when I say contemporary, all my books, whether they're interracial, African American, Caucasian romance, Hispanic romance, they're all considered contemporary because they're.
You throw in urban in your title. I always see with your it's a contemporary urban.
I used to say urban because I used to write urban fiction when I first started. My very first two books was Hazard and Dice's Revenge. They were urban fiction stories. They were street fiction based out of Washington, D.C. I don't particularly read the genre anymore. My taste has grown a lot. I can still write it, but I'm not the writer for that genre. You have to write a certain way.
Right.
And I don't really write that way. My books didn't do good when I was trying to write.
Okay. That's all right. You got to find what works and keep pushing.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I was dating a guy who thought he was hood at the time I wrote him, and he was like, "Good book. I commend you for writing them, babe. But I can tell you're not about that life. Like, I can." And I was just like, I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. Now I appreciate that kind of feedback. But
right.
Then I'm like, F you do. You sit down and write a book.
That's right.
I love that.
So like what was it about the steamy scenes and all of that made you want to write it? You know what I mean? Like, because you could have romance without all of the
I started reading heavily. I've always read, but when I started really getting into fiction, I started with Cold as Winter Ever at 12 years old. That is not a book for a 12-year-old. No. And that book was pretty explicit. And then I got into Zane.
Girl.
Here we go.
Yes.
That is the thread through all the authors. Zane. It's like every time we talk to you guys, especially romance authors, steamy kind of. It's Zane.
Of course it is. Who else is it gonna be?
Really? Everything. I was in church one day.
I'm sorry. That was a serious story.
It was very serious.
You caught me off guard. Yes.
My grandma made me go to her revival youth revival, and I really wanted to read my book. And this was when that's really all I had was fiction. Because life, while we have a lot of good memories, my mom, she did have a drug problem. So that was kind of my escape to just dive into fiction, which is how I got into writing. So that was what I wanted to do. I just didn't want to do anything. I used to get cursed out by my, no, she didn't curse because she's a Christian, but she fussed me out.
That's right. That's right.
Over and over, like, all you do is sit there and read. And then when I started writing, all you do is sit there and write. Go outside. Go do something.
Yes.
But I wanted to read, and she wanted me to go to youth revival. I didn't even go to her church anymore. I went to somebody else's church. But she wanted me to go to youth revival. And so I was sitting there with my book. I put another jacket on it, though.
Oh, you thank God. Oh, my goodness. Shoot. I was like, you gonna be that bold?
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for her to get kicked out and the book flying. She walking and the book falls and there goes the thing.
And I'm saying, my friend was like, "What you reading?" I was like, "Dang, be quiet." She was like, "No, you didn't." Like, what mean? It was one of them lock-ins where we had to spend the night. I was like, I don't even want to talk to these people, so I gotta do something.
Lock-ins? Oh wait, what is a lock-in?
You guys never done a lock-in? Well, I don't know if it's every church, but at least at the church in North Carolina, they'll pick one day out of a summer where they lock the kids in, and it's like a overnight like Bible study. We would bring sleeping bags, and we would kind of like have a sleepover with all the youth in church.
Okay.
South Carolina too. Yeah, I think that's a South thing.
Yeah. Okay.
You couldn't leave until the next morning. I mean, your parents would be there.
Yeah.
The parents would be off on one side, and the kids would be off on the other side. It was one of those youth lock-ins.
Okay, now.
Look at
Sorry.
I think it's like, okay. Oh my God. So then you read Zane and you was like, this is me. This is what I'm going to
Actually, no, it didn't even work that way, but I started with Zane. So I've always liked the steamy stuff. And then I graduated, and I always say graduated because I feel like the writing style grows. I graduated to Kimberly Lawson Roby with the Curtis Black series. And I read all of them, and I'm like, God, I was in the church heavy too. So reading about a pastor doing crazy stuff, I was so into it. And then, and then I got back into the urban fiction, and I'm reading it. I can do this, I can write this, but I was still afraid to write sex because I wrote the first book at 16. So I was like,
wow.
I wasn't even sexually active, so I wouldn't even know how to, do. I didn't add sex until I rewrote the book in 2015 to publish it because I didn't know nothing about no kind of.
That's right.
So and even then my ex was like, you need to write more sex. You need to do this. I'm like, that's not me. I'm here for the story. And he's like, but sex sells. I'm like, I know that, but I want everybody to read my books. I don't want just, grown-ups reading my books. He was like, but sex sells. I'm like, whatever. Fast forward 3 years, I write for one of the collections, which is the BWWM. There was some sex in it, but not a lot. And then the second one I did, which is my Dirty Calls book, it's like the veil came off my eyes.
You went in.
I went in, and how it came about because my friend was telling me her plot, and I saw something on Facebook, and it just popped in my head, and I started writing it. It was actually chapter 2. I started typing it on my phone, and it basically it's basically the whole book is phone sex, and I wrote it, and I'm like, okay. So I went and finished the story to put into this collection, and it ended up being my bestseller. The whole series is my bestseller for the longest. And when I read back, I was like, I don't know what I was going through when I wrote this, but it's good, pretty good. And it started, I had already been reading romance over and over for a while. So I think Zane kind of opened up my mind, but I didn't start writing it on that level until Dirty Calls. And I tell people all the time, which I find ways to correlate different things in my life to stuff that people would never understand. When I wrote Dirty Calls, I was highly depressed. I highly depressed to the point where I was crying, all kinds of stuff. And I was talking to this guy who was in the military at the time. And so most of our conversations were all phone. Real life, I cannot do phone sex. I will laugh the whole time. You can talk to me, but I'm not going to talk to you. So we was talking, and he would, say little sexy things or whatever. So I was like, I just fictionalized our interaction with each other. And I don't know, it kind of got, I don't know what it was, but it's like, everybody need an outlet. For some people who depressed, they might turn to drugs. Other people turn to alcohol. Some people eat. Sex was my thing, but I'm a germaphobe. So I turned to fictional sex. And I wrote this book, and I was like, it's gonna be dirty. I ain't never wrote nothing like this before, but it's gonna be dirty. And I wrote it, and I ran out of words, so I had to like cut it off in the cliffhanger. And the publisher called me and was like, so when are we gonna get the rest?
Oh,
just
nice.
I get some more when I get my rights back. I get some more.
Yeah, that's right, girl.
But it really started with that. I don't know what it was. I really think it was the depression.
I want you to talk a little bit more about that for me.
Okay.
Your depression.
So apparently, according to my therapist, I had been depressed for years and just didn't realize that's what it was. But the dam broke in 2018, very end of 2018. I had graduated college, broke my foot that same year, lost my grandpa, and I was the primary caregiver for him. And then I moved into this house, and that shit was just a whole hot mess. And it was just a lot going on. And while me and my mom are close, we still had some things that we struggle with in our relationship. Most of it codependency on her part. Me being the eldest of all of her children, I'm the mom, literally. And so I felt like I didn't have an outlet for myself. I didn't have a life for myself. And it all kind of just piled on all at once. And I just got into a really, really low state to where I couldn't talk to nobody. I got up and went to work every day because if I didn't, I'll starve, they'll starve. But it was just a very low moment. And instead of writing books about it or whatever, I found something else. And for me, it was sex. I don't know. I was craving sex really hard. But again, I believe in healthy women's sexuality. If she wants to enjoy herself, by all means, do you, boo, just protect yourself. But I'm just not one of those people. So it's like I'm too afraid to go out there and just find a little piece of meat for the night.
Literally.
That's right.
So I started writing. I told my therapist, I said, I feel like every time I turn around, I don't know why my depression related to being aroused, but I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe it's just a drought. It's been that long. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I feel like I need sex because I don't do drugs. I do drink, and I have started drinking a lot more, which is why I started writing. Started writing again because I was drinking, like I was going through to the point where I get to the liquor store and the man knew how many bottles of wine I wanted.
Oh.
So it was not that bad to the point where I would deem myself an alcoholic, but if the man at the liquor store know my order before I even open my mouth, then it was it was becoming a problem. And my therapist would say, you're not an alcoholic because alcoholics won't ever say that they're alcoholics. And it's not like you drink the whole bottle in one night, but I have sometimes now. But so it just got pretty bad for me mentally. And
what helped you come out of that?
Take my mind off it, so I started.
Was it right in the book that got you out of it? Yeah.
And I was like, I want something that's so against myself, because I feel like, especially within the Black community, I feel like women have it hard. There's a lot of things we can't do without being judged and ridiculed.
Oh God,
so even if I wanted to go out and be free sexually, in the back of my head, I'm like, my grandma's gonna be like, God's gonna strike you down. I'm not even religious anymore, but I still have that in the back of my head. I have friends who look at you when you say, I don't want a relationship, but I do want somebody that I can have that kind of, connection,
intimacy.
Oh, you're just gonna be hurt, or you're just gonna be this. And I was like, well, I want to do some freak nasty hoe shit, but at the same time, I don't really want to do some freak nasty hoe shit, because that comes with pregnancies and diseases and all kinds of other stuff, and then ridicule for people. And then I
think we all felt like that in one point in our life.
More than one.
And then I was mad that if I did the freak nasty hoe shit, I was gonna be judged by the people within my community, when there's friends that I have that are not in our community that can do all kinds of freak nasty hoe shit, and then they get wiped up to billionaires and shit. And it's like, I'm just like, I felt bad. I felt like I had nowhere to go. So I said, well, you know what? You know where I can do freak nasty hoe shit? in my books.
My books.
So I wrote it, and I don't know what I was going through, but I wrote it. It came out great. The readers loved it. I try to bring the same level of steam, but it's kind of hard because every couple that you, even though they're fictional, they're all different.
Yeah.
Some things I've written, I was like, this sucks. And my friend is like, no, that was hot. I'm like, okay.
Right. Everybody has their own thing. Yes. It's so true. It's so true. So I have 2 more questions for you. I think Di might have 1 or 2 more too. But so what was the moment that you were like, I remember you were saying, you had already said like why you got into TikTok a little bit, but like what was going on during that time?
Depression.
Yeah,
I was watching TikTok all year long, working, whatever. I made a really risky move last year.
Tell me.
Because of depression. I quit my accounting job, left my house, moved across the country where I know nobody, no job. I had savings, but it's gone. And towards the end of the year, it got a little scary in terms of my savings is now gone. My books were doing really good at the beginning of the year, and then i.e. COVID fucked shit up. And the sales started to dwindle. So now I'm working extra hard, trying to make sure that I can provide for myself. Because I've always, after I got out of my family's house, I've always taken care of myself. I've never been without a job.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had to worry about where my rent, how I was going to pay my rent. And so it just got pretty dark, and I just needed something to keep me from thinking about my current situation. And I'm not a person that, I believe in the power of choice. And if you make a decision to do something and it doesn't work out the way you want, then you need to figure out a way to adapt and fix it versus wallow. And I try not to wallow on things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I realized that this choice wasn't going the way I thought it was going to go, I can either sit in the house and be depressed and start drinking again and all this other stuff,
right?
Or I can take my black ass back to work and figure this out.
Yeah.
Granted, I start back working on next week, but
oh, congratulations!
Thank you. But I went out and I just started hustling so I can make sure that my bills are paid. But I still needed something else that could be an outlet, which ended up being TikTok. I was watching all the TikToks, and it's an author I follow who started doing TikTok. I don't know her reasoning, but she started doing TikTok and she built up a fan base, which actually helped her raise more money for her writing. And so I was like, well, let me try. And so I got on there, and now I like it. I check TikTok like religiously at this point just to see how many people looking at the video, but I don't really do it for potential sales. It's just an outlet.
Okay. Like it's something you enjoy. It's like part of your therapy.
Yeah. Like
good.
I tried to learn that dance I tell all my people, cut the check. I spent 2 weeks trying to learn that dance. And I still
saw your post that says I fucking got it, or finally, or something when you finally did it. I was cracking. I was cracking up
real bad. I was going through depression real bad. My friend's like, "Are you writing at night?" No, I'm learning this TikTok dance.
So what's my last question is this? What is next? What is next for you, Sade?
Hopefully USA Today bestselling author when when Midnight Whisper releases next month. But it's not, I guess it's more of the same thing and just trying to figure out another way to continue growing everything that I've fallen in love with over the years. Writing is never going to stop. Now that it's a job, it's a little more of a strain than anything. I used to write all day, any day about anything, and now I have days where it's like I just can't get the words out because of the pressure of getting the books out. But that's never going to stop. I have 3 pen names, so it's never going to stop.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, did you have more than one pen name?
I do. So Sade Rena is the name that I've always said I was going to write under whenever I start. But then I have S Renee, which is, this is touching on your second question. It's the darker side of romance. And so I don't know if do you read dark romance?
My mother might be listening. No. Not me, Missy. Just in case my sons hear this, not their mommy. No, sorry.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny. So S. Renee is just a variation of my name. So instead of Sade Renee,
That was.
So that readers who, because I don't have any dark titles yet, except for She's With Me, which is a dark female romance.
I did see
I just
that
saw
one.
it. Yes, I know.
Good.
I know you can get it free if you
You
download the newsletter.
Yes. If you just sign up, you'll download the book before you get added to my newsletter because I have to do it manually. But it is a freebie because Hate to Want You is gonna be essentially book 2. So we have another box set called Tangled Sheets. And book 1 in that series is gonna be in Tangled Sheets, and then book 2 will be in Hate to Want You. And so me and my best friend, we are writing this brand new world together, and together we have no following. Separately, we have our own following, but together we don't. So we wrote She's With Me to kind of introduce readers to how we would be writing
the
together.
collab.
Okay. I saw your names together in the list, and I was like, "Is that her partner in this?"
For those two projects, it's me and her together writing in our Seconia Brothers series, which is a mafia series. It's a family.
I like that.
It's a family of 8. The girl is the only, and She's With Me. She's the only female out of the entire family. They're a dysfunctional bunch. None of them look alike because they're not blood related. The dad is an Italian man who grew up poor and in the hood and in the foster care, and so he took in all these kids. And
that sounds good.
I know.
Some of them are white, some of them are black, some of them are biracial, some are Hispanic, but he raised them as his. And because he's a crime boss, they all just fucked up. So
I like it. I like it.
I like it too. That sounds real good. Yes. Yes.
Yay.
So
about him. It's mostly about the kids, but we might write a story about the dad.
The backstory.
Yeah, we might.
I like that.
That is so cool.
It's more sexual than anything else, but we do introduce you to like the dysfunction of the family. I don't know what I'm not a lesbian, but I don't know what I was going through when I wrote the people who read it was like, girl, this was
but you got to tell us.
We got to try this. No, you could do that with your leg. Okay.
This is pretty good. I'm glad you like it. She's married to a man, and I've never even kissed a female, so it's like I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean, love is love, right?
Yes,
That's
love
right.
is love.
That's
all right,
right.
so I think we're gonna end it there. But Di, did you have any more questions?
Yeah, I just wanted you to touch on the other 2 projects you're involved in outside of your writing. You said you was into. Do you have these 2? Is it organizations or?
Oh, Minxlet and All About the Indies.
And All About the Indies.
Yes, All About the Indies is my baby. It's the first project that I put together. Depression. I needed something.
That's right.
I needed something to do. At the time, my ex was in prison, and I needed something to keep my mind off of him being away. So I created this book signing to bring opportunities for readers in DC to find new authors. And I mean, I don't seclude traditionally published authors, but it's hard for indie authors, and I'm indie, I self-publish. So it's hard for us to find these opportunities that's not hella expensive or already filled up, because a lot of these events they've gotten to the point now where they're invite only. And so unless you're a big name making a shit ton of money, sometimes you don't even get an opportunity to be on the roster. Or you find out about it late because they invite the ones they want first, and if they fill out, then you never find out about it. And so I wanted to create one, and I did. It opened in 2017. I did really good my very first year in terms of getting. I don't do it for profit. It's literally just a passion project.
Nice.
All the money raised goes into hosting it. Granted, we wanted to be free for the readers, so everybody, all the authors who are participating, we pay for it.
Wow.
So I don't do it for profit. but I do pay my part just like the other authors. So
Mm-hmm.
place for readers to come and then they can hopefully make their money back from book sales. Because there's a lot of events that I want to go to that I like to buy books. I don't want to spend my money on a $70, $80, $100 ticket when I could have bought 80 books. Probably not.
Right. Close to it though.
8 books.
We got your math. We got your math. I was counting with you. I was
understood.
Like, wait, was it pen 80 books? Okay.
I wanted.
Yes, I dig it though.
I wanted to keep it free. The second year I did charge, but only $5, and it went towards a raffle. And so at the end, their money got them something if they won.
Yeah.
We didn't do it last year because the year before that we had to cancel because my mom had a stroke, and then last year we canceled because of COVID. And then I don't think I'm going to host it this year because I am high risk. And again, germaphobe. So being around all those people is just isn't something that I'm going to do. So we're not having it this year.
Right.
So we would have been in our 3rd year if I didn't have to cancel it last year.
Yeah.
But it's literally it's just a book signing for me to connect with other authors and for us to bring those opportunities for readers to come and have something to do.
So for our listeners, how can they find you in all the platforms?
I am Sade Rena Writes everywhere. I think Twitter is Sade Rena _author. But Sade Rena Writes everywhere. My website is saderena.com, which is SADERENA.com. I'm primarily on TikTok now. But I used to be on Instagram. I go through phases, so we'll see how long TikTok lasts. I used to be on Instagram religiously, and I am on Facebook more personally than I am on the side of things, because people on Facebook can get kind of crazy. So I just stay on TikTok because TikTok is positive. Granted, there's some trolls out there, but most people are positive. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me.
And then we can buy your books at.
You can buy my books. Pretty much all my books are on Amazon. One book right now is wide, which means it's available on all retailers, and that's Dirty Calls. But everywhere on Amazon, just type in Sade Rena and you'll find a list of all my books. And then the last one, Minx Lit, was a box set that I started in 2017, right after the first event for All About the Indies. I dived into Minx Lit because I needed something to do. And it's essentially, I don't run it right now, but I may go back into it. It's a subscription box, mostly for women who wanted to run some sort of business. So my goal is to try to foster empowerment. And so I would find books. 1 month we'll have a book that's focused on helping you grow your business. Because I'm an author, a lot of them were author focused. Most of my subscribers were authors. And then the other month it'll be like a self-help book, something that they can read to kind of refuel their soul. And then they get little trinkets that I would give, either pens, coffee mugs, tea, things that kind of help them relax. I might be starting the box.
I think that is so freaking awesome.
Yeah,
that is so cool. So Oprah-esque. I love it. Yes. Yes. Get the book and the tea. Yes. I love it.
Those are adventures. Mostly I write now, though. I don't have time.
I think that is such a cool idea.
Yeah,
I hope you start it again. Yeah.
I do hope you start that again too. All right, to my listeners, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate y'all so much. Sade, you are a fucking amazing girl. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep watching you on TikTok. You need to come back onto the show. Maybe we could talk about like other things aside from, like topics and shit. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we are out. Say bye.